I think there's a more than decent chance Dwayne Haskins actually stays, and they don't trade him away in the offseason. We can unpack all that at another. Yeah, I do. I mean, I don't know if that's going to be the end result because
why? That's what they're telling you. Somebody's telling you.
No, that's more opinion and thought and analysis, and yeah, maybe a little birdie mentioned that as a possibility, but only a possibility. It just from a financial standpoint, it kind of makes sense, right? If you release him, it costs you like $8 million worth of dead money. If you keep him, it costs you a lot less. And again, Alex Smith, I don't see how they're going to be able to carry Alex beyond this year.
No, I agree with that.
No,
and Kyle Allen's
that dead cap money,
no.
just move
right.
on.
I'm talking about Haskins, the Haskins
right.
part.
But what I'm saying is so Alex is probably going to be gone. Kyle Allen is an exclusive rights free agent and can't stay healthy. And you have Dwayne, and you've already paid him the guaranteed money. It would cost you a lot more to cut him. Now, you could trade him, and it would cost you like $4.5 million worth of dead money. But if you're eating all of that money on Alex Smith and you don't have any quarterbacks, what the hell are you going to do? I mean, like you could go find some jabroni off the street, some 9-to-5 ham and egger. That's fine. Or you could keep the guy that you're trying to develop, trying to figure out a way to tap into it.
Here's the problem, Rooster, is that the most valuable thing in the NFL is a rookie contract quarterback who's actually playing well and actually playing.
And they're kind of wasting it.
It's fine that he's on a rookie contract, whatever, but if he's not out there producing, what good is it to you?
I know, but it doesn't cost you, I guess, Cakes, the if you have indecision, if you don't know exactly what here's a couple of reasons why I'm more buoyed in this belief that they might actually keep him. One, Ron actually said something nice about him the other day, which you haven't been able to get Ron to say anything nice about the kid recently, right? So he says he's been working hard behind the scenes. I saw him in the huddle around the team when they gave Ron the game ball on Wednesday after Dallas, and he was, hooping and hollering and cheering and, having a good time and mentally invested. I saw him dancing and shaking and having fun at practice on Friday. I took that as a good sign. So, again, maybe I'm going too far, but I'm trying to logically think this out with Kyle Allen, an exclusive rights free agent, likely lost for the season, with Alex Smith likely gone after this year. They're going to have somebody in the building, somebody that knows the system, somebody that is around, somebody that is prepaid insurance, and that's why I don't think they traded him. A, they didn't have any interest, and B, maybe there's no interest again in February or March. Who's to say that there's going to be interest?
Chris, let's get into some of the individual units on this team. Let's start with the defensive line.
Mm-hmm.
At times, they've been spectacular.
Yep.
But I looked at the updated rankings. They're 23rd now in the NFL against the run. Yesterday, both Gallman and Morris had big days. And I think that we all, and even if he's been graded high by Pro Football Focus, we all expected more game-changing plays from Chase Young.
Yep.
What's going on?
Yeah, so he had, a half a sack yesterday, ultimately, I think is what they officially credited Chase with, or maybe it was a full, but it was a zero, net game, whatever. He's been good against the run for the most part. Yesterday, they all sucked against the run. They were all over the place. They were all out of their gaps and lane discipline, and that's what Ron initially said when I asked him after the game, hey, 166 yards, and I didn't say to a pedestrian offense, but that's exactly what it is. That's not good. But when I looked at the numbers during the game, guys, I looked at Philadelphia, they were pretty good. Dallas, they were pretty good stopping the run. The 5 games in between that, minimum 129 yards allowed on the ground, and in some cases 160, 165. Now, yes, you're going against Kyler Murray. Yes, you're going against Lamar Jackson. Yes, Daniel Jones pulled a 50-yarder out of the hat, and they've gotten gashed for big gains and big runs by the pull read option quarterbacks. I got it. The run defense still sucks. It still sucks.
The Rams ran against them.
Yes, and Jared Goff ain't doing that.
No.
It still stinks. So you have 6 out of 8 games now where they've allowed more than 130, or I guess it's 129 rushing yards. And yesterday it's 166. And on that one drive, Alf's got an 18-yard run, an 11-yard run, an 8-yard run. Get the bleep out of here. That's Alfred Morris. He was done 6 years ago.
I agree.
I mean, come on. And here's one other thing that concerns me.
He looked like he had burst.
Yeah,
Chris.
but if I could add this one thing, Ron Rivera's defense, definitely last year, I have to double check 2018, they stunk against the run. And here's my philosophy. They have preached from minute one when they got here, we are going to stop the run on the way to the quarterback. Well, if you don't get to the quarterback consistently enough, which they also haven't done, they've gotten to the quarterback against Philly and Dallas, but not in between all that much. If you don't get to the quarterback consistently and you're selling out to get to the quarterback and saying, oh, we're going to do this cute little thing, stop the run on the way to the quarterback, well, that could lead to some potential bad lane discipline and gap discipline, which is exactly what Ron said yesterday. So I'm trying to, again, logically think this, that it might be a fundamental philosophy of being maybe a little too aggressive trying to get up the field, and you knock yourself out of position, and that's how teams can crease you easily.
All right, let's talk
Does
about
that
the
make
offensive
sense?
line. Let's get to the other side of the football
Makes
because
sense.
I think a lot of people like to give Washington quarterbacks a pass, and the easy thing is, well, who's protecting them?
Right.
I think the offensive line's been playing fairly well.
Yeah, the offensive line wasn't bad yesterday by any means. I mean, I have to watch the tape just to make sure. They gave up a couple of sacks. Obviously, Alex took, I want to say, a big loss down in the Reds, down in they're deep in their own territory that looked particularly gnarly. Kyle took a sack early on that was, I want to say, about a 9 or a 10-yard loss. So, I mean, it wasn't great. The thing that drove me crazy about the offensive line is when Alex first comes in, right? So the injury happens. They cart him off. Alex comes in. Moses takes a penalty. Sheriff takes a penalty. Logan Thomas takes a penalty. 3 out of basically 4 attempted run plays. And, of course, because the penalties were all accepted, they don't even count as plays. You had 3 penalties, and it leads to a 48-yard field goal by Hopkins. So even if you're great protection or pretty good protection or good protection, however you want, they couldn't run the ball, and they killed themselves on that very first drive where they were actually moving the football before Kyle Allen gets injured on the 1 sack. And I think that was actually the second time he was sacked. I'll double-check that. But my point is they were fine. They were okay. They weren't hemorrhaging. But I don't know if I would view them as good enough yesterday to help this team. Once again, they could not run the football. And JP, you and I and Logan talked about this on the pregame. Like, how do they figure out a way to run? How do you figure out a way to consistently run the football to set up everything you want to get to in your offense? And they have not been able to figure out a way except against Dallas.
And you saw the frustration, by the way, sorry, Cakes. You saw the frustration of this team. I don't know if they were down 13-3 or 23 at the time, but Moses just going ballistic on the rest of the offense on the bench.
Yeah, and apparently he was yelling. I didn't hear it, but somebody asked Ron Rivera, show some heart, have some heart or something like, along those lines. And Ron said, I don't have a problem with that.
That's exactly what he said. I read his lips. He said, play with some effing heart, he said.
Yeah, I mean, and Morgan is a respect. First of all, Morgan should have been a captain. Dwayne Haskins should not have been a captain when the season started. He should not be a captain at this point. No. Morgan Moses should be a captain. Brandon Sheriff is a captain. I don't understand how Brandon Sheriff is a captain and Morgan Moses isn't, but whatever. Morgan Moses is a captain in my eyes. He's a leader in my eyes, and that's exactly what this team needed. And quite honestly, guys, that's exactly what the entire team needed. I mean, we all know you can't win with 5 turnovers. I cracked on Twitter yesterday. I know nobody wants to hear it. Nobody got that annoyed at me. I said, #Club Ron. I mean, this team was dancing and running around the locker room and doing all this hijinks stuff, playing music, and the DJ long into practice on Thursday and Friday. We're all like, wait a second, this is and Ron's like, well, the kids are used to playing music all the time from colleges. Well, okay. You know what? I was worried about this all week. Would this team show some backbone? Would this team show that they could handle prosperity? And once again, splat.
They need some Club Roosters. What they
exactly.
need is Club Ron. That's
exactly.
What they need.
Yeah, Club Rooster would be like, shut the damn music off before you even get out to the field. That's what Club Rooster would be. Club Rooster would be work your ass off and win a football game that you're supposed to win.
Rooster, the problem with the whole club thing is the club just doesn't have good enough players.
Yeah, it doesn't have good enough DJs.
So when you've got good players, it doesn't matter what music is going on. Doesn't matter if there's ping pong tables in the background.
I know.
They don't have the
JP,
quarterback.
that's my thing. I can't back down now.
I understand.
So,
hey, this is just a prediction thing, okay?
Yeah.
Prediction, not going to hold you to it. I Alex Smith is starting this week against Detroit.
Yes, which is the right call, by the way, in my opinion.
Okay. Your opinion, when will Haskins be back on the field?
I think it'll take injury to Alex Smith.
Only injury.
I can't reasonably predict that. I do not see Dwayne Haskins coming in relief because Alex is playing poorly. I don't expect Alex to play as poorly as he did on a couple of those throws and interceptions. Not that they were all his fault. They weren't, especially the first one. The second one was kind of his fault, but it was a terrible operation from the snap. The third one was his fault. I don't see Alex playing that poorly again. I could be wrong. And maybe after 3 or 4 picks, you see Dwayne Haskins coming in mop-up duty, relief duty. I don't see Dwayne like, hey, we really want to evaluate
not in
Dwayne
relief,
again
but could
real
you
quickly.
see, let me just give you a scenario. Let's say it's a typical Alex Smith line. They lose to the Lions. Typical Alex Smith line. Like
180 yards, whatever.
Yeah, 180
okay.
yards, maybe has a touchdown pass.
Gotcha.
Whatever, but
Do I see him
uninspiring.
against the Bengals?
And then that happens again. So they lose the next 2. Alex hasn't done anything great. He's just been
I think at that point, if we're talking about losing the next 2, I don't know if we see Dwayne Thanksgiving Day in Dallas on national TV and all that stuff, but I think pretty soon after that, like when they would be mathematically, like for sure
So
eliminated,
2-9.
which they're not,
Right.
then I think there's a chance you see Dwayne
Throw him to the Wolves in
unless
the
Alex
Steelers
gets hurt.
game. That's a great
Yeah.
spot.
Oh,
At the Steelers.
you would just get crushed.
And the Steelers, by the way, seem to be the one team that kind of, from some rumblings around the league, seem to be the team that, might be the most mildly interested in a guy like Dwayne Haskins. So maybe Ron says, here's your showcase. Go out and have
Good
fun.
luck. Good luck there.
Exactly.
All
Exactly.
right, Rooster. Well, look, hopefully you enjoyed your time at FedEx with
There is
people.
no enjoyment of time at FedEx.
But you won't be going to Detroit, correct?
No, I'm not. If they were a better team, I would suck it up and pay the money and fly or drive or whatever. I'm not doing that. And by the way, there was no New York media there at all yesterday. It was
Really?
unbelievable.
Not one.
Not one that I knew. And
Wow.
everybody said, nope, this guy didn't make the trip. None of the guys I knew from New York made the trip. None of the columnists, none of the media people that I knew, just team people, but no daily news, none of them. Now,
How crazy
could be
is
because
that?
they suck and obviously the COVID protocols, but none of them. But I know a lot of our guys, like, Keim is not traveling. I don't think J.P. Finley is traveling at all this year. The Post is sending 4,000 people. I've been to a couple of road games, but again, I'm not going to Detroit and Dallas or San Francisco because A, they stink, and B, I got to pay for it on my own.
Wow.
Right. I don't blame you, brother.
Yeah.
Rooster's not going in his pockets.
I mean,
right?
unless
Go
you
to
guys,
Detroit.
unless you guys want to sponsor me. Do you guys want to sponsor me? I'll do some gambling out there for you. Greektown is awesome.
Greektown, yeah.
Hey, our pockets aren't lined like they were like they used to.
Maybe last year or 2 years ago.
How long's the drive to Detroit, though?
It's like
That's
8
a-
hours.
It's like 9 hours.
Yeah, that's not worth
somewhere in
it.
that range.
Even
Yeah.
if we paid for your gas and your ticket, it's not worth it.
I mean, they stink. You know,
the
thing is,
stink.
you don't
And
even
it's
get
gonna be
access.
it's going to be a clown show. I mean, Patricia might get fired. Stafford might not play. It's going to be a clown show. That
course it
game
will be.
yesterday.
Is Stafford still in the protocol?
As far as I know, yeah. I mean, he was being evaluated.
But he-
Well, hold
but
on.
didn't
He's
he test
tested
negative?
negative several times
No,
now. I
no,
think he has
oh,
to
no,
do
no.
3.
But he got a concussion yesterday, and they like one of the prominent Detroit writers called it a brain injury. He didn't even use concussion; he used it a brain injury. So I haven't checked the status this morning, but he's got to be in concussion protocol, not COVID protocol.
So you're going to have Chase Daniel
No, Chase
versus
Daniel.
Alex Smith next week.
I mean,
Yuck. That's a yuckarama.
Advantage Chase Daniel.
I don't
Let
know
me
about
guess.
you boys, but nothing says November football like Chase Daniel and 38-year-old Alex Smith.
Yeah, let
Let's
me guess.
go.
It's not going to be Jim Nance and Tony Romo on that call.
Well, Detroit allowed Dalvin Cook to run for 1,000 yards yesterday.
Yeah.
I know.
So maybe McKissick and then Gibson.
No,
could do
Washington
the
will choose to pass 40 times in a row because Alex Smith needs the reps,
Right.
just like they do every time Alex Smith comes in. Because we're not interested in running against teams that we can't run the football successfully again in the first 3 or 4 tries. No, we just abandon it. We go away from it. No interest. No thanks.